Un attore per dire.
Hi Stylisters, welcome to lesson 9. We're getting there together. We thought we'd do hats because it's we're coming into hat season. I mean, hats are worn all year round, but especially now with weddings, with the summer season, the polo, the horse racing. So looking forward to it. So I've got a few of my hats. I have hundreds of hats. Living in Ascot, we tend to go to the races quite a bit, and the polo. So we've got a few of my hats. A lot of them are from Ilda de Vico. She's a couture milliner. She's a very good friend of mine, so I wear a lot of her hats. So we'll take a look at my hats later. But when choosing hats, I mean, some people look fantastic in hats, and some people just get it so wrong. And I see a lot of that at Royal Ascot, and I'm sure you do too. The secret is really knowing which hat looks right for your face shape, for your clothing personality, for your colouring. Here we go again. But it's all really, really important. So I hope today we can give you a little insight, a little bit more clarity to choosing the right hats for you. And which is unique to you. Again, it's very much of looking in the mirror, trying lots on, but if we can give you a little bit of a grounding of what you really should be looking for before you trot off down to the milliners, also to hat hire shops is a great way if you can't afford these fantastic hats, and go and hire them. They're pretty cheap to hire. Okay, so let's talk about face shape. Okay, a lot of this is common sense, so we're going to quickly run through, well, it is common sense, but lots of people still don't get it, but we're going to quickly run through the face shapes. So obviously if you've got an oval face, you don't want to lengthen a long face even longer, so you don't really want to, well, mostly ovals can wear anything, but if you've got a particularly long oval face, you don't want a height on the crown of the hat, because obviously it's going to make it look longer. But what you do want is some width on the brim. And there is a rule of thumb that your brim should never be wider than your shoulders. But for instance, if you were a dramatic person, that would look fantastic. But if you've got a longish face, then the wider the brim, the better. So obviously it's going to balance it out and not too much crown. Then we have the diamond face shape that, if you recall, we spoke about last week with hair. So if you're smaller than, your widest part is across your cheekbones, and then you've got a slim jawline. It's good to wear like a floppy hat, but just where you position it, I mean, that would be great for like a round face. But if you've got a diamond shaped face, just sort of where you position the hat can change the whole look of the face. So if you've got very wide part here, if you just tip the hat back slightly, it doesn't emphasize that wide part. But if you had it down like this, then the first bit you're seeing is the widest part, can really emphasize that. So just think a little bit about, when you're looking in the mirror of your hat, how to place it. There's a lot to wearing hats, is about placement on your head. Okay, so that's the diamond face shape. Right, a square face where you're pretty angular, quite wide at the top, and then you have a wide jawline. What you don't really want is like an angular hat, really, to emphasise those angles. Something like a Panama hat wouldn't really suit a square face. You need quite like a rounded brim to soften those angles. Let's move on to the next face shape. So the heart-shaped face, if you recall from previous lessons, is where you're really wide at the top, and then you have a very sort of slim jawline, just like a heart shape. So really, you don't really want the large brim, because obviously let's show you with this hat again. So where the brim cuts off will be the widest part, and we'll just emphasise that width at the top. So things like a heart-shaped face, a very angular hat, like a Panama or a trilby, or angular cuts, or even like fascinators would suit a heart-shaped face. okay, because you're lengthening the top with the fascinator. So, and finally we come to the round, the circle shaped face. So obviously you need some height on the hat to lengthen that face, you know, not too low a crown, because it'll make your face look rounder. So you need something a little bit more sculpted, I would say, like a trilby or a fedora, or even a fascinator with a lot of height would look good. One thing about fascinators is they tend to suit everyone, but where you place that fascinator on your head is very important. So we'll show you that in just a minute. So let's move on and take a look at some of my hats. So if we go over to the mirror, and so I can see where I'm actually placing them. So let's start. Okay, whilst you wouldn't necessarily wear a Panama to more formal occasions, like weddings and Royal Ascot, you most definitely would wear something like this to the polo, for example, or a high summer tea. This is a genuine Panama, genuinely picked up in South America, but I love the colour. I bought this mainly because the colour is right for me. Okay, it's girly, it's bright orange, which is one of my double star colours. As for face shape, so this would be great on a circular face because it's quite angular. It's a bit high for, the crown is a little bit high for an oblong, could lengthen your face. It's great for a heart-shaped face because the brim is not too wide, it's kept compact. And Panama should be worn sort of tilted down, looking mysterious. Okay, so that's just great, just for like, lots of people are confused, by the way, about polo. They tend to come very dressy in great big ascot hats, and that really is not the way. It's pretty understated, polo, and in my opinion, most people just wear white jeans. That's the polo staple of the season. Okay, but Panamas can be different colours. I actually wore this to Henley this year, so. Okay, floppy hats. Still in for this year. They were massive last year. Now this is very good for me. It's a nice wide brim. I just have an oval face, but it balances out my oval face, and it's kind of mysterious. We spoke earlier about where you wear the hat. If you've got a diamond shaped face, you know, you could wear it back. You play with it to suit your shaped face and what looks best for you. Okay. This is actually good for a natural, which I have a large percentage of natural. So it's just a natural fabric, it's a natural colour, but then we have my little bit of girly in gold around the brim. So that's perfect for me. And you might find it's perfect for you too. Let's talk a little bit about fascinators. Now fascinators suit almost any face shape. But where it suits you and your hairstyle, there is a school of thought that you should always wear it on where your parting sits. So that's good as a tilt on my head. If you had a round shaped face though, I almost find it's better to wear it in the centre of your head because the height of the fascinator lengthens your face out a bit. Okay? Again, that's for real girly personalities. Fascinators suit girly. They may be over fussy for a classic, and even possibly over fussy for a natural. So that's a very girly fascinator. This is definitely a more dramatic fascinator and even if you had a lot of dramatic, then I would go really, really, really high. You could, I mean, there's some amazing ones you see at Ascot, but you could really get away with the real drama. But if you weren't a dramatic and you wore one of those, you just end up looking silly. But that's kind of cute, isn't it? I love that. Yeah? So I always wear mine tilted. Okay. Right, let's look at some of the more formal hats. This is actually an Ilda de Vico hat, which is a couture hat, a designer hat, so it's a one-off. So something like this would be would really elongate a long face because the height of it is quite massive. Okay, so we have elastic and comb in this hat. So it's very important. I mean, once you fix that in, that hat's there to stay. The elastic goes underneath your hair, right underneath it, and you pull your hair over the elastic. It doesn't go under the chin. So this is a really high hat, as you can see. It's pretty dramatic. In fact, it's very dramatic. But this would elongate, because of the high crown, would elongate an oval, a long face. But it's very good for like a heart-shaped face, actually. A pear-shaped face it's very good for because it's actually balancing out the top part of your face. But again, you wouldn't wear this if you were a small scale and a classic. This is a very, very dramatic hat, and it's quite medium to large scale. Okay, this asymmetrical hat is good for most face shapes actually because it's breaking up one side of your face anyway. Yeah, I do think asymmetrical is quite good for a wide range of face shapes. The angles just make me too much for an angular face, but generally if you're in doubt, asymmetrical works. What do you think? And another Ilda de Vico, it's got Swarovski diamonds on the top. But because I'm girly dramatic, then I had a flower put on in my colour just to soften it a little bit, and the feathers still maintain the drama. I've been photographed in this hat quite a lot. It's very old. Again, we've got the elastic, but it comes with like a head bassinet anyway, so there's no comb in this one, and it actually stays good. And you can see underneath the brim, to maintain the girliness and the colour around my face, because as you recall, black is not a good colour for autumns, but I put an orange there by the face, so it generally looks good. Okay. Well, I'm not going to put all my hair around the elastic this time, but as you can see, I wear it tilted on the side, so you can see the flower underneath. And that looks pretty good. Okay. I don't think you could even wear that tilted back, otherwise it wouldn't stay fixed on your head. It has to be tilted down. Okay, so that's a really good idea. If you see a fantastic black hat, but it's not your colourway and it's going to drain the colour out of your face, you can get your milliner, or you can even buy these flowers like at Accessorize or any haberdashery shops, and just gum them on, staple them on, or glue them on. I think a staple gun would probably be better because it's always windy on these occasions. And put one underneath the brim around your face. And that orange really does help to lift my face, whereas the black may just wash me out a little bit. Okay, let's just look at a couple more. Now, here's a cross between a fascinator and a hat. If you're in Royal Ascot, by the way, if you're in the Royal Enclosure, the fascinators aren't allowed. So you have to have the brim of at least 7 centimetres, like so you can't just wear the fascinators that I've shown you into the Royal Enclosure. But this is a fantastic, beautiful, dramatic hat. And the pink is just in my right shade. Okay, and this is also just a simple, like, fascinator style with the elastic on. This is actually just high street, so it's good to show you what you can actually buy in the high street. Okay, so most milliners tell you to wear your tilt on the parting side, but I think you have to play with it to what suits you. So this is on my opposite of my parting side, but it definitely looks better than it does on the other side. So you have to play with what you think is better. And I actually really love that hat. Okay, so that's just a genuine high street hat. I think I bought that in Daniel's in Windsor, which is just a high street store. But even shops like Accessorize have some amazing hats. Monsoon, Actually, even Primark did some hats last year, which are very good. And lastly, I'm going to show you this hat because it demonstrates a natural, really. There's no colour on that. There's slight flamboyance with the size of the brim, but it is really nice, just a natural hat that still maintains its dressiness. So this is a Suzanne Betley hat, and again we've got another different way of fitting it to your head. So there's no combs, no elastic, but you can pull this in to make it thinner or wider. Even when it's on your head, you can pull that in so it sits snugly, and that's always important on these sort of occasions. So I actually did wear this for Royal Ascot last year with a cream. I went all cream last year, but the brim is very, very big, and it does actually go against the rules that the brim is actually wider than my shoulders. But because I have some natural in me and I also have dramatic, just the wideness of the brim can make it a little bit more dramatic. But it is a fairly natural hat and does go with most things. And it's got the bow on the back, of course. So, okay. So we've shown you quite a few hats there, lots of different sizes and shapes. But of course, I don't have any classic in me at all, so I don't have any classic hats. So I'm just going to put a couple of classic hats on now, so you can just see people like Victoria Beckham would wear these hats. They're very simplistic, extremely classic hats that I just wouldn't suit me, so I don't have any to show you, I'm afraid. But we've got a whole array that suits different face shapes there, and clothing types. We've got dramatic, girly and natural, so I hope that's helped. Just a little word about how to wear your hair with hats, because there's always this big discussion. Really, with these wide brimmed hats, let's take this one for example, just to pop on my head and show you. So these does not look good with all my hair down. So really you would have your hair, long hair should be back in a ponytail, and actually that looks much better with all my hair off my face, or a chignon. Your hair should really be away from your face. With the more natural one, obviously, again, you've done the lessons, but even though this is wide brim, and lots of milliners will say your hair should be away from your face, because I wear my hair down with this one because it is a natural looking hat. Sometimes a natural looking hairstyle kind of look quite good with that. But the more formal, dramatic hats like that, then really your hair should be away from your face, and short hair should be tucked behind your ears, and even gelled back really. So the rule is that the wider the brim, that really your hair should be tied away. Fascinators, I always think fascinators look much better with hair down. I'm sorry, but they do, because they're much more girly and frivolous. But you just with the formal hats, girls, tie your hair way back off your face, okay? And some dramatic lipstick, always that's lovely with a wide brim. So just a quick word on scale as well. Remember we did scale as part of the masterclass a couple of weeks ago. You must remember that. I mean, some of these hats are lovely and really wide brimmed, but if you're a small scale person, they're going to look ridiculous. So if you're quite short, then the wider the brim looks silly on short girls. So tall girls can get away with a really wide brim. So please remember your scale as well as everything else. So just to recap, we've got colour, we've got your clothing personality, we've got your hairstyle to consider, we've got the tilt on your head to suit your face shape, and the whole hat should suit your face shape, and the scale. So there's a lot to remember there, girls, but there's nothing to be said for actually just going to the milliners or going to the department store, and it takes ages to find, hours to find the right hat in a department store. But most department stores do have a great selection now, and as I said, you can actually personalise them with flowers and things that you can buy in places like Accessorize. You can buy them in haberdasheries and make it your own. That's what style is, remember. It's unique to you. So thanks, Stylistess, for coming. And I look forward to seeing you during the summer season in all your fabulous hats. Don't forget, we welcome any comments. Click subscribe. Bye.